Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Goaltending, where your why is bigger than your excuses. It's part 2 with Monica Hurd. If you haven't listened to part 1, first off, make sure you go back and listen to that. Incredible journey, story, outstanding athletic career in volleyball, in the Union Commonwealth University Hall of Fame. So many great things. First, I just want to thank you all for tuning in, allowing us to be a part of your journey. Make sure that you find takeaways you can apply to your journey. And then also go like, subscribe, comment with your thoughts and questions from part 1 and part 2. Like, let us know what you think, what questions you have. Like, what would you have asked Monica? Did I miss anything? And then what are your thoughts on the topics we're discussing as well, and how do they impact your life? We'd love to hear those things. And so let's just get into, after college, you got into coaching volleyball as well.
Yeah.
So let's get into like your coaching background, like the experience with that, also how you balance those things with family.
Yeah. So coaching probably started during college, just from like I did a lot of private lessons. Louisville is really big in the travel volleyball world. I would say top 3 to 5 in the nation from a state perspective.
Wow.
Yeah, Louisville knows. Yeah, we were way ahead of our time. And so I had the opportunity to work with a lot of great girls as even I was still playing up in the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. So that was probably like where my love for educating the game kind of came into play. And then I continued my education to get my master's at a college called Piedmont College in Georgia. And that's where I GA'd to coach college girls. It was a small D3. Did that for 2 years. It was wonderful. I got asked to stay, but unfortunately my grandpa was diagnosed with cancer. So I moved back to Louisville just to be there for him, which I'm very grateful I did. Yeah. And it kind of like kickstarted the career path I'm on now. Yeah. But that's probably the highest level I started coaching, and then coached again travel for quite a few years after that. It is, if anyone has like kids that are interested in travel sports, it's a whole lot, but it is so good. It teaches them so many things. They like skills and lessons that they need throughout the rest of their lives, regardless if that's like from a physical standpoint to learning how to speak to a coach, how to like speak up for yourself or your teammates, how to be competitive, etc. Highly recommend it. Find your right team though, because sometimes if you're on the wrong team, it can set you up for failure just as easy as it sets you up for success. So yeah, that's kind of like my coaching journey. I quit competitive travel, when my daughter was about 1 or so. Okay. A lot of that was the travel that went into it. I was like nursing in dirty bathrooms. Like it was not conducive to working mom a working mom. So,
right. Yeah. Oh my God. And so you quit around the time. How old was your daughter? Was 1?
So about 6 years ago, it's probably when I stepped out of the competitive travel. I still coach like the youngins, just because if anyone's going to teach my daughter how to play, it's going to be me. Oh yeah.
who is more uniquely qualified?
I mean, so funny story, and you can cut this if you'd like, but my daughter started like a travel team last week, and she told the coach that she was teaching her a wrong thing on like how to hold her hands. It wasn't how mom taught it. That coach was like, if you're going to keep directing me, you can go sit on the bench. And guess what Kennedy did? She sat on the bench. She's like, if you're going to teach me, you better teach me right.
Right. Hey, you got to say though, like, that's a really good point though, to stand up for yourself.
100%.
If you know something is right, like truly believe it, having the power to stand up for that and what you believe is right.
Especially at a young age.
At such a young age.
Crazy.
That is powerful.
I know. I told you she's going to change the world. For the good or the bad. I don't know. But she will. Right. Maybe with your daughter.
Absolutely. Look, they're ready. My daughter already said she's running for president. So
let's go.
Whatever we're doing. All right. So let's get into part of that decision to get out of coaching
Yeah.
was about family and the
100%.
impact that it was having on family. Can you talk about, you know, kind of what was going on, the impact that it was having to family, and then how you responded to that?
Yeah. So the level that I was coaching at the time was 14 ones, and they were ranked top 5 in the nation, I think, at the time, which means we practiced 3 times a week, which took about 4 hours of and I work full time, right?
Yeah.
So like this is anywhere from 5 to 9 at night, which is like core family time. Did that 3 nights a week. And then we traveled, if not every month out of the weekend, 3 weekends out of the month. And so not just like traveling up the road, like from Cincinnati to Louisville, we're talking like Minneapolis, and there were some Texas things in there, like Florida, all the places. So as you can imagine, being out of the home, especially when you have 2 really young ones, it puts so much strain on like Josh, my husband, our relationship. And you start holding, especially in a young marriage, which we had just gotten married. We were barely secure with ourselves, much less secure in our marriage, you know? So there was a lot of, like just holding grudges, like you're not here. Well, you're not working as hard as me. You know what I mean? Like on both sides, there were lots of stuff. So, we kind of had to come to Jesus moment of the extra money is great. It's not worth our family. So.
That's a good point. So, first I want to hear your thoughts, and then I'll share a piece of my story that's like, I feel like kind of relates to that. But what did the communication look like to come to recognition of like, this isn't worth it for us? How do we work as a team to get past this? What did that communication look like?
I'll probably give Josh a lot of credit here. It was a lot of, actually, let me take a step back. A lot of times in our arguments, it was always me like apologizing or starting the conversation of like resolve and just like normal issues or whatever. But he, for this specific issue, and maybe it was because he was like largely impacted and he was finally like, hey, it's time. But he was kind of like, hey, I can see you're not happy. I'm not happy. We have to like start liking each other again. And the only way that you can do that is by spending time together. And then, so not only like moving away from, like volleyball and coaching and spending time outside of the home. But like, again, I mentioned it in round 1, but like spiritually, we started going to church together and like sitting. And I think of our best time as a married couple and like how it almost like switched. It was in that moment when I let go of extracurriculars, if you will. And then we like spiritually connected, which is so huge. And that's where the conversation allowed us, because then it was what's our intention of this marriage? What's our goal of this marriage? And we both had the same goal, but we were trying to get it in different ways. And so being able to communicate like, hey, I love you, but I'm not feeling your love and you're not feeling the love that I give you. And then there's like love languages and all that stuff. But that's probably how it like came to about the most.
I mean, that just gave me a visual of thinking of a team. If you think about a team and we're like, we both want to win, but we are working completely separately to try to accomplish that goal instead of
together
working in cohesion
or getting in each other's way. Talk about
So I relate significantly. Like different situation, but very similar. I was working full time and I had took on my master's program, which was pretty much a full-time program. It was class 3 nights a week for 3 hours, plus, time for assignments and stuff in between those classes. So any night I don't have class, I'm working on schoolwork. And we just had one kid at the time, but Aaliyah was very young. So she was born right before I started the program. And so Brittany felt like a single mom.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at work, go straight to school. I get home after Aaliyah's already in bed 3 nights a week. And then the other nights I get home and I'm working on work. And I couldn't see it. You know what I mean? I was blind to the impact it was having on her, the lack of my presence. And had I seen it sooner, if I could have seen it for myself, obviously I would have made a change sooner. Because being present for my kids is one of the most important things to me, with like my dad not being around growing up, and just recognizing how important that presence is. But I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And even some of my friends, like, they knew that Brittany was unhappy, or she had talked to them and they knew what was going on. Everybody could see it but me. And it came to that conversation of Brittany telling me she was unhappy.
Yeah.
And it like broke me down.
I'm sure.
I was like, I care so much about being a good husband and a good father. My mom was divorced multiple times. Like, I grew up around divorce so much. I was like, I don't want to follow in the same path. So how do I fix this?
Yeah.
And it took the recognition of, like, if everything is a priority, nothing's a priority. I was trying to do it all.
Yeah.
And so I had to, I was still able to do good enough in my MBA program, but I had to take a step back from some stuff. Like, this is school. It's class. I want to learn the stuff, but I don't need to put as much effort into school. It's way more important that I'm present as a father and as a husband right now.
Yeah. Well, and I also think what's interesting there is a lot of men are designed to think that if I'm working towards something, I'm bettering the family.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I am protecting, I am whatever. Yeah. And sometimes, while that is so true, and I totally respect it, I actually have the same thing. I'm a grinder, but like it is the physical presence that actually is the protector, is the like one that everything that you think that you're doing outside of the home actually needs to happen inside the home, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because more is caught than taught. I like that one a lot.
I like that.
So like, if you're not around for them to see this stuff, it doesn't matter what you're telling them. Yeah. They have to see you doing the things to have the example of what to follow.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Caught, not taught.
So you all get past that, right?
Yeah.
And same for us. It was early part of marriage, so like still trying to figure things out, first baby and everything for us. Yeah. What was next after that? Like, so you all connected, spiritually, and built that communication. We move on beyond coaching. Now you've gone back to like, I play volleyball. I said, this is my first love, right?
Yeah.
And so you still play volleyball now, and you're still being competitive.
Yes.
So how do you balance now? Like, now that you all have worked through that piece of life and you understand that, now how do you prioritize things to make sure that you're still meeting the family, but also filling your own cup and giving yourself what you need for...
Filling your own cup is so big. Like there, again, I keep saying like for women or whatever, and I never dealt with this, but a lot of women I know think that like they have this mom guilt around doing things for them or for themselves or whatever. And I am of the belief that if you don't fill your cup, then you have nothing to give anyone else. And so talk about like wanting to be a good mom. If you're not happy in a lot of aspects of life, how are you supposed to show happiness and a good role model to your kids of what balance looks like? I'm not saying I get it right all the time.
None of us do.
Right. But like I have my mornings that I wake up before everyone, and I make sure that my body and my mind and my soul and all of that is right. I try to prepare from like a kitchen standpoint, prepare their food, make sure that they have food for lunches. Like that is how I show it, my like love to them, which allows me to be able to take time away on a weekend. If it is, so I play in what's called VLA. It's like a semi-pro women's volleyball league. They have men's too. And so when I have a tournament, I'm okay taking that weekend away because I know that my kids are fed. I know that they have a wonderful father. They have a house over their head. they probably don't even miss me because they have 15 games going on, like whatever. So I think a lot of that though comes with age as your kids get older, because you can talk to them versus both of our stories. We were young in marriage. We probably, again, we didn't know ourselves, much less like who we are inside this marriage. And so there was a lot of work that led up to me being able to balance a lot better of, I need to play my sport, because if I don't play my sport while I can competitively, I'm going to be a not great human, which means I won't be a great mom, and I definitely won't be a great wife. So, and I encourage him the same, like go play golf, don't go to the casino. I mean, maybe not the casino. Let's go play golf though. We can go play golf though. Go play golf, go play basketball. Like, I love it. And take the kids. That's the other thing, is if you can take your kids to your thing, like mine is volleyball, but like, I don't know, say someone likes to paint, like take your kid to go with you, even though that's not the same as like me time. It's still the activity is not the same stressors of in the home, etc. So like my daughter goes to a lot of my volleyball tournaments and she is the hit. Everyone loves her. And then Kennedy gets to say, oh, I really loved what you did here. And you set this girl, like, and so she is learning too. And then it's just this great bond. So anyway.
You're getting to share like something that you're passionate about. There's so many things in that. First, most important thing, if mom's not happy, nobody's happy.
You said it.
All right. So 100%. But I tell people that all the time. You have to fill your own cup. Like I've seen so many people that will talk to me and ask about, I sacrificed for my kids and I gave them everything, and now they're out of the house. They're inefficient for themselves because I always did everything for them. Now I have nothing and they don't know how to take care of themselves.
That's so true. That is so true. I mean, nothing bad about my mom, because my mom is a literal angel. However, I was so busy as a child and she was so busy as a mom that she almost had this mom guilt. And this is me putting words in her mouth. She has never said this, but I feel like her way of quote unquote making it up was giving me almost anything I wanted. She always did my laundry. She always made my lunch. She cut the crust off. She did the things. She made sure that I like always had my practice uniform clean. Like she did all the things that I didn't even know needed to be done. And so when I went 3 hours away from home and I had to like make sure that my coach knew that I was doing X and that my like favorite volleyball socks were clean and my like knee pads didn't smell, like all the little things, like make sure you have toilet paper, make sure you have toothpaste, like all the things. I was like in shock. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to be a functioning human because my mom did all of this for me. Granted, I learned how to do laundry and I didn't, I didn't put any holes in anything, a couple bleach stains. But that's a rude awakening. And so like, you are not doing your kid you're doing them a disservice if you don't kind of put them in situations where they, what is it called? Where they fail safely.
Let them fail.
But in
it's a way safer environment while they're a kid. It's much lower threat. And if you fail and you learn how to cope with failure, you learn how to overcome that yourself instead of looking at mom and dad like, solve this problem for me, mom and dad.
That on the court, can I tell you, that is the biggest pet peeve as a coach, is when your son or daughter or whatever on the court make a mistake. Not only do they go palms up, but then they look at their mom or dad for either approval or for correction. And I'm like, your coach is this way, bro. Like over here, eyes on me kind of thing. So mom and dad, back off. Just a little bit, except for me. When I'm the mom.
Unless it's me.
You better listen to me.
That made me think of, was having a conversation this a couple years ago with my in-laws. So it was just my wife Brittany and I were talking with her parents and talking about parenting. And they're incredible.
That's brave.
They're incredible parents. They're incredible grandparents. We are so thankful, like, for their presence in our lives. They've taught me so much. I truly, like, could never thank them enough for everything that they do.
It's very sweet.
But still, at the same time, like Brittany brought up things that could have been improved or that she wants to do differently. And it really made us think about, no matter how good of a parent you try to be, no matter how many things you do, you'll never be perfect. There's always something that you'll be able to improve upon. Like, there's a lot that could have been improved upon for my childhood, but I survived. You know what I mean? Like, do they have the basic needs to survive? It is really what matters. Everything else is icing on the cake. It's bonus. But the best thing that you can do for them, I think, is let them struggle, let them solve their problems so that they can be better humans when they grow up, when they are on their own and have to solve things for themselves.
Because here's the thing, in the corporate world, or like just in any kind of business world, again, no one cares that your feelings are hurt or that you didn't like the way something was executed, etc. Like, no one cares. And so if you are coddled to your entire life and then you get into this real life world, you are in for a huge awakening. And you're going to be shocked that people don't care that you're upset. Like, if you're not contributing to the, at least in my world, if you're not contributing to the bottom line or the top line, whatever, the lines, all the lines, then bye. Like, sorry, we don't care if you're happy or upset about that. So
let's ask this. Like, I want you all to think about this. What is more important to you? That you just make a completely safe, challenge-free world for them now, so that you think you're making them happier? Or is it better to create the challenges, to let them have the challenges themselves, let them take it on, let them solve the problem, so that they can be better later, better contributors to society, better able to create value, better able to cope with everything life's going to throw at them? Because regardless of, you can try to jump in front of all the obstacles yourself right now, but eventually they're going to have to take on the obstacles themselves. And so if you haven't taught them to take them on themselves as kids, when it's time to start taking them on, like, what?
How are they going to do it? You're not going to be there forever as a parent. And so, like, how I relate that back to coaching is, especially in my private lessons, there's a girl specifically. So I was a setter. And so there was a setter that I was coaching. And during our privates, I put her in situations where she had to, like, really extend, like, probably toss balls that there's no way she was going to get it. But you better try, and you better be on the floor trying to get that ball up. And I'm very well known for how loud I am on the court. And I will yell, go, 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 you know? And I do that in my private lessons too, because, you know, they hear me, then they push, etc. And she came back a couple of years, like, into her collegiate career. And she would say, every time someone tipped the ball and I had to extend forward, I heard Monica saying, go, 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 go. And so, like, the same thing in parenting, like, I wasn't there for all of her collegiate games, but I was in her mind because I taught her. So same thing in parenting. I'm teaching my kids, like, hey, kid, like, it's not all rosy sunglasses, and it's definitely not always fair. So I want to be in the back of your mind that, hey, you can do this, fight through it. If you see an obstacle, what's the way around it, or how can you break through it? So that's what I hope that I instill in not only my kids, but the kids that I coach.
It's all about just recognizing we're not going to be perfect, but give the best that we can. You know what I mean? And as long as we keep them alive, like, they figure it out from there.
You know, that's the only thing you can go to jail for.
So before we got into recording, you mentioned some, I don't remember if it was values, characteristics.
My non-negotiables.
Like your non-negotiables.
Yeah. So
let's touch base on your non-negotiables.
Yeah. So every new volleyball team that I coach, I always tell the girls I have 3 non-negotiables. It's communication, effort, and hustle. And effort and hustle kind of go hand in hand. But the reason I say those 3 is because they require zero athletic ability.
Yeah.
Zero. And if you are communicating, talking on the court, or even off the court, if you are giving me effort, and what effort looks like is running to go shag the balls and then running back and then like being attentive, like you are providing effort into improving yourself, and then hustle on the court. Do not just like lollygag around, or don't not go for a ball just because you don't think you can't get it, or something along those lines. So those three things, again, if you have zero athletic ability, you can do all three of those things. And if everyone does them, guess what? You're probably going to win.
Boom.
Yeah. So.
The key to success. Yeah. I was going to ask if you like clearly define the difference between effort and hustle for them when you have that conversation, because they are like closely related. I feel like
they are
intertwined.
Yeah.
So you get clear into the definition of that, so we know exactly what we're talking about.
And it's harder when they're like 7, right? To understand that. I mean, heck, they don't know what effort means. Like even they have no idea. But so that's when it's like physically showing them what I mean. Is really important. And then whenever we are either in a practice or in a game and we're not doing those three things, I ask them to repeat. What are the non-negotiables that I said at the beginning of the season? And then they'll all be like, running, and you know what I mean? But they try.
Just making stuff.
Yeah, just whatever. But they try, but they understood the principles. They probably don't remember the words, but they remembered the principles. And so I say, grade yourself. Like I will take a time out and ask that question, and they grade themselves. And then it's like you see this switch. They're like, oh, I need to communicate. I need to speak on the court. I need to hustle after every single ball, kind of thing. 7 years old, they don't do a lot of that. But the 14 ones, they did. Yeah.
But you're building the foundation right
100%.
there. You know what I mean? Like that's where it starts. And if they've got the broad concept, whether or not they remember the exact word, I think that's what you're building on. That's awesome.
Yeah, I try. I mean, they're especially the young ones.
Yeah.
They're fun, but they don't remember a lot.
Oh yeah. So with that, based on like the coaching, the prioritization with family, the non-negotiables, all of that, if you could give one piece of advice to the younger version of you, what do you say?
This kind of goes back into what I said in the first, is having intention, and know your value for each one of those, because it all ladders up. It's all impactful. If your family is your intention and your most important value, then everything you do around that needs to support it. Every action, every decision, every whatever, you have to make sure that that's at the top. That's your limelight. That's your like green light, right? So being very clear on those things, so that your volleyball or your sport or your whatever your goals are, they all ladder up. All of your decisions ladder up to whatever you're trying to get to. Because again, like I said, I didn't have a lot of that. It was just the grind. And so setting that intentionality is so important.
I'm all about it. I love intentionality. Thank you again
so much. I'm so happy to be here.
For taking the time. I always stress on that the time is the most important thing, you know. But and even with parts of the story, like the time away from family, like you're doing something very valuable to help people. And so truly thank you, and for making the drive out here in snowy conditions today too.
It's pretty though.
So truly appreciate it, and thank you all for tuning in, allowing us to be a part of your journey. Make sure that you take these lessons away and apply them in your life. There was so much great stuff today. Make sure you go like, subscribe, comment with your thoughts and questions to join the conversation, and let's grow.